Victor Senior High, I'm Sarah Birnbaum.
And I'm Erin Malone.
And welcome to today's episode of The Victor Voice.
One of the everlasting problems of teenage lives is the stress from their parents.
This is only made worse because of the development of technology. Parents want to control what their kids do online, while kids just want to find a way to break the rules.
Our episode today is about parental controls, teen privacy, and creative ways to stretch the limit. Now let's go to Sarah in the cafeteria to hear from both students and staff about their experiences from the past.
When did you get a phone?
11. I got a cell phone, like a real cell phone, when I was about 12. I got mine like second grade.
I was 9 when I got a phone.
When I got into the junior high, 7th grade.
16. When I was 11.
If you had kids, how would you protect them from the internet?
I would honestly set boundaries, and I just hope that they would follow them, and if they didn't, there'd be consequences, obviously.
I mean, I can't really give parenting advice, but I think there should be some controls in some way, but also if you do too many, your kid's just going to rebel and do whatever they want anyways. There's really no point.
I can give parenting advice. I think it depends on your age. I think there's a difference between controlling what you're being really controlling and just protecting them in some ways. So would I do what my parents did? No, I would not give a kid a cell phone with no control in second grade. But I think it also just depends with safety, you know. They do need a phone at a younger age.
If you had kids, how would you protect them from the internet?
Probably shelter them a little bit, but they still need to know what's going on.
I'd probably protect them by exposing them at a young age so they can kind of get used to social media and kind of get used to how things work in the world at an early age so they're not in shock when they're older like our age.
If you were a parent, how would you control their kids' internet use?
I'd try to peek in without them knowing, every once in a while, maybe every 2 months. And if it's clean, then I'll stop doing that. If it's not, then I'll take some charge in it.
If you had kids, how would you control their kids' use on the internet?
I would teach them internet safety, and hopefully they'll make smart choices.
We're here with
Mrs. Knapp.
And we're here to talk about teen privacy. When did you get a phone, a cell phone?
Well, I'm actually kind of old, so I was well into adulthood when I got my first cell phone. I was actually married and had 2 small children when I did.
What is your perspective on teenagers hiding their phones or being on the internet from their parents?
I think that's tricky, right? Because there's some pretty negative situations I think students could find themselves in. And as parents, you want to be able to kind of monitor and help your student or your children make good decisions. So it scares me as a parent that kids know ways to hide things. Usually because when somebody's hiding something, it's not a positive thing.
Should parents control what their kids do on the internet?
I think especially as your children are younger at first and, now because all kids are growing up with access to internet and phones and things like that, I do think parents should play a pretty good oversight role, especially in those early years. But as kids get older, parents really need to pull back some too, because that's part of our job is to help kids try to learn to make good decisions and trust that. But certainly early on, I would be monitoring a little more closely.
Awesome. Thank you. When did you get a cell phone?
Oh, I didn't get a cell phone until I was a senior in high school. But I had a track phone where I had to buy units, so their control was more buying me units, and then if they didn't have the money, I didn't have a phone. I think to me, if you have something to hide, it's probably not a great thing, so I don't love the idea that they can hide so easily their digital footprint, because I think if you have something to hide, it's usually not going to be good. I think that children should have a little bit of an opportunity to form themselves and to make something of themselves, which a lot of students or children or even people do through digital platforms. However, I think that as a parent, we should have the opportunity to help develop our children on how to do that maturely and safely.
I'm here with
Christy Rudzinski, ENL teacher.
When did you get a cell phone?
I got a cell phone when I'm old, 33 years old.
What is your perspective on teenagers hiding their digital footprint on the internet?
I have 3 teenagers, and it's a little scary to me thinking about everything that goes out there is accessible by people. So I think just overall, it makes you a little nervous about that.
Should parents control what their children do on their phones?
I think that especially the younger you are, yes, I believe there should be controls, and as they mature older and they are able to make more responsible decisions, then they can maybe take more of that control over. But yes, I think there needs to be a hand in that a little bit.
Thank you to everyone who made this episode happen, people we interviewed, and our team.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. This is Erin Malone
And Sarah Bird Greenbaum signing off.